if I can't drink Milo's tea, I'll be in my casket.
What is it all for?
Right.
100%.
The day they tell me you can't drink Milo's tea anymore, pull the plug. I'm done.
Well, I don't feel that way about anything I consume. I'm very much happy with the way I'm living life, bro.
Yeah.
I always thought, like, you ever been talked to by your mom, like, oh, you should be grateful. There's people that eat beans and rice every day. You've ever had that talk, like somebody's hungry somewhere? It's real. I'm not disrespecting that. But I think even if I had to eat beans and rice every day, I don't know if I'd be that upset because I really like beans and rice.
I remember having that conversation. Like, somebody would be glad to have that. Give me their address. I'll ship it to them. They can have it.
I'm that guy. I mean, I'm thinking about pinto beans or black beans, but who knows, man? I'm not going to get into that. What I am going to get into is the NFL draft. We are having a draft this Thursday, round 1. And I want to do a mock draft, still thinking about that, trying to figure out a way to do that. Because we do want to live stream the draft. I don't know if it's going to be through Zoom, Facebook, whatever. We'll figure it out, shoot it out to you guys. What I do want to do is a mock draft, not today, but we'll probably do something like a flash lottery, or maybe we might do the whole first round. I doubt it, but at least the first 10 to 15 picks, we can do that. Right. I don't know if we have that much time with our situations with the kids, everything we got going on, no excuses, but I also just really want to focus on the live draft and like our reactions there. So speaking of the draft, this is going to be the last episode that we do our top 5s on prospects. We're going to include the receivers with the defensive backs, which the receivers was extremely difficult to do. Defensive backs, a lot easier. So before we go, bro, I want to start with DBs, but before we go, you got any caveats? Do you have pants on? Those things. Like, let's cover
actually,
that.
no, I don't have pants on. I was actually asleep maybe 20 minutes ago because I've been sick as fuck. And I'm finally starting to feel better, but I'm also catching up on the sleep just because whenever I get sick, I try to sleep it off. And that is my form of medicine.
Yes.
And in addition to real medicine, I've been eating Pepto-Bismol like fucking candy past couple of days.
And cocaine.
Not like I like that, bro. That's never been my game, bro.
Really? Okay.
Got a couple friends who partake, and that can be their shit, bro.
Wait. Well, okay. Hold on. We're not just gonna breeze over that. Before we get to the NFL stuff, you got a couple of friends. That's more than one. First of all, couple means more than one. Could be 2. People say couple. It could be 4. And they take them, and it's not your style. What are you doing to get them to not do that? Or are you enabling? Like, where are we at?
I'm not their mom. Like, go ahead. But that's all you.
You're not my mom. But if you caught me, like, we're at a game, I tell you, hey, man, I'm going to use the restroom quick. And 10 seconds later, you're like, you know what, I got to go to. You walk in to me doing a bump. Where are we at?
With you, it'd be different. But these guys have been that way since I've known them. So
first impressions, right?
Yeah, I'm not one to like you've been friends with cocaine longer than me, so I'm not going to butt in and try to change that.
Who am I to step on your friendship?
Yeah, I know a few guys who like to blow down, and that's their prerogative, bro. More power to them.
So are you seeing the trajectory of their life change at all? Like, since you met them, I know they've been doing it, but have they kind of just stayed the same and they're just doing blow?
Yeah. You wouldn't even know they did it unless they told you. That means I could do it too.
And solve all your problems.
That's right.
Don't do drugs, audience. This is just a little back and forth about a real concern that I have that is clearly no concern to John, which is no surprise if you've listened to any of our episodes. You know that he does not care. So, but what we do care about is football. So let's get into it. And I like how we handled the fast food episode where we went back and forth on our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I want to start with DBs because this is not a strong DB draft. Although I think there are 3 solid superstars and 1 possible, but 3 solid superstars in this draft that I can't wait to see with an immediate impact in the NFL. But after that, the class is not deep at all. Just got a couple of stars. So I'm going to go ahead and start with number 5. Coming in at number 5 for defensive backs, he's going to be Derek Stingley Jr. People are going to lose their mind because he ran a 4.29 40, which is crazy, by the way. That's very fast. But it didn't look like that on film against Devonta Smith. He looked like a 4.6 that game. And what's sad is a lot of his success and a lot of his tape that you will find, if you YouTube him, Google him, a lot of his tape is from his freshman year. And injuries happen, things happen. But how many guys have you seen go to the NFL that are injury-prone in college that actually worked out? Right? So the fact that all of his success was so early on, yes, he could be on an island. He could turn his hips with ease. He has, in my opinion, the best ball skills without a doubt. Like, if you hate on him, no, seriously. When the ball's in the air, Stingley, to me, has the best ball skills in the draft. I'm sorry. There are guys that I'm going to list that have great hands, but in terms of, like, not just knockouts, but getting the interception, like a big play ball skill, jump ball guy, where he's going to usually come down with it or nobody's catching it at all. I love seeing that. But, yeah, that's what worries me is that a lot of his success was in his freshman year. You know, when you think about injuries and inconsistencies, I think speed and ball skills are his biggest strengths. But, you know, he can tackle, he can make plays in the open field. But I didn't see – I mean, he's coming in at number 5 off of the fact that this is just not a deep class. I didn't see anything that yelled out like he's going to make a difference in the NFL by any means. So that's my number 5, man.
Yeah, he's also my number 5. A lot of the reasons you listed, because if somebody has like their one good year, that's great. But then teams have a year worth of tape on you, and they know your weaknesses and know how to attack you. Blah blah blah. And also sitting out a year to go to the draft has never sat well with me. I don't fuck with that. It's really selfish.
It's only worked out for Ja'Marr Chase, but go ahead.
If I'm a GM, I don't like the fact that you're just basically quitting on your team. You're quitting on your team, and when
we're seeing that with
you're the best player on the defense, and you're sitting out. So
yeah, on the one hand you have Ben Simmons, and then on the other hand you have Ja'Marr Chase, who Ja'Marr clearly, like, if you watch Jamar's like docuseries, whatever he did on YouTube, he was working his tail off the entire time he was off the field. Like, he was in special camps, paying a lot of money, getting training, and it showed. Ben Simmons quit on LSU. Ben Simmons quit on the Sixers. Ben Simmons decided to not show up for the Nets after being out of basketball for more than a freaking year. So I'm going to take your take on that. I'm definitely going to side with you because, yeah, Ja'Marr Chase happened, but seriously, if you end up with a guy like Ben Simmons, then you've wasted an entire year of a first-round draft pick, which though you can't take those lightly anymore. I know the Rams said, you know, screw those picks or whatever, but some teams really need that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm with you on that. Do you want to lead in on number 4? Or you want me to go?
I can go. Number 4, I'm going to go with Roger McCreary from Auburn.
Oh, he's at number 4 for you. Okay.
He's at number 4 for me. Just because a lot of the guys I watched just aren't in the SEC. SEC is top to bottom the most competitive league, and it's not a debate. The SEC's got the best talent from top to bottom. If you want to go against the best, you come to the SEC. He went to the SEC, and I think, in my opinion, had his best game against the best team.
Yes.
Because Alabama caught hell at Auburn. And Roger McCreary was a big part of that.
And until he got that cramp, or whatever it was, he got hurt like later in the fourth.
Mhm.
He froze for
Yeah.
a second. Yeah. As soon as he got hurt, like and left the field, plays started happening. Big play, big game type guy. He shows up for everything. He played a lot of downs. That's what I loved about him. And it was the best DB amongst a really good defense, in my opinion. But yeah, as soon as he went down during the Bama game, for example, Auburn was up, 10-3 for the longest, 10-0, something like that. As soon as he went down, Bama came back and tied it up, like immediately, because they could not throw the ball. So I love seeing him do well there, but a very solid number 4 for you, man. Anything else on Roger?
I just think like if he gets in the right system, like in the slot, he could be a big issue. But yeah, man, he's my number 4 just because of it's a weak DB draft, like you said, but if there's one team I watch more than Alabama, or almost as much as Alabama, it's Auburn, just because I like to see them do poorly. But Mccreary was a bright spot. I did like to watch him play.
It was really good, man.
But yeah, that was my number 4. So take it away.
My number 4 is going to be Trent McDuffie, 5'11", 195 pounds, corner out of Washington. Hey, I'm going to do this. So, first of all, his film doesn't look that bad. I don't think he's going to be a star. I think that he's my potential star, where in the right system, where they got a really good pass rush, this is the guy to shine. I mean, at the safety spot, I'd rather he be there than, corner. Not just because of his height, but because he's just a rangy guy. He runs a 4.44. The guy can fly, and he's a not quit type of guy. So I don't want him at corner. I want him in the tackle box sometimes. I know he's 5'11", but the guy's aggressive, man, and he can cover a lot of ground. And most of his highlights that I like watching is him tackling in the open field, which is different for a DB tape. But liked him there. I don't have too much more to say about him, except the fact that I want to pair with the fact that Washington has consistently put out corners and DBs over the last 3-4 drafts. Consistently, they've done well. And to my knowledge, they haven't changed the corner coach, the DB coach. So I'm going to put my faith in the fact that their system keeps pumping out these guys and that he's going to do well in the NFL. So that's my number 4 guy, man.
Yeah, I watched his tape also, and the offenses he was going against just looked really out of sync. So, like, are you playing well, or is the offense you're going against just bad?
That's a good point. That may be why a lot of his highlights were open field tackle and blitzes. But coming off a corner blitz and stuff, I want to see him at free safety. I'd rather he be kind of rangy and doing his thing there. I think that would be a strong suit. Would not be surprised if an NFL team moved that way.
Speaking of corners and safeties at corner, my number 3 is Jaylen Petry from Baylor.
You got a game like that?
I got game like that, bro. Similar to Javon Holland from the Dolphins.
Speed.
He's fast. He's very fast.
Mm-hmm.
He will hit you also.
Yeah.
But he reminds me a lot of Javon Holland, just the way they play him in the nickel. And he can cover, he can hit. He's got good instincts. He can play the ball. And speed, man. Speed. And he's just versatile, and he's fast, and he just versatile, man. Does everything at a high level. And yeah, bro, that's my number 3.
I like it. My number 3 is going to be Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton. Said that too fast. I was trying to burp at the same time, but Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. I usually don't respect anybody from Notre Dame on any side of the ball. But guy's pretty good. I like his size, no homo. But, free safety at 6'4", 220. That's something you got to pay attention to. And he is I grew up loving watching Bob Sanders, Troy Polamalu. A lot of these guys knock people out. This is that guy. He's just almost twice their height. But 6'4", 220. He plays like it. Not that fast on the 40. I mean, 4.59, but he's at free safety. So he doesn't have to cover anybody, and he can play like a flex linebacker at times, kind of what they do with Isaiah Simmons. We've seen that with other players as well, where he could play in the box. He could back off in coverage. He doesn't have to cover anybody one-on-one unless he's in a goal line situation, which, we'll see. But I got him at number 3 simply because I think that on the right team, he's going to be a superstar. Seriously. I mean, he's got the physique for it. He loves to get dirty. He loves to get physical. And that's a good sign when you're that tall and that big at DB. So not the most physically gifted in terms of speed and turning his hips and opening up and change of direction, but the guy's got a knack for the ball. Really good football player, in my opinion. Kind of the same reasons I picked some of the defenders on the edge. What was it? George Karlaftis. Just Kyle Hamilton to me is a solid football player. Like whoever drafts him, they're not going to go wrong. He's not a bust. It's going to work out. If he's not a superstar, he'll at least be really good. Like,
yeah,
that's how I feel about it. And that's my number 3. So let me lead in with number 2 before you get to your number 2. Roger Mccreary is my number 2. I think we probably have the same number 1. A lot of the same reasons you already named Roger for your number 4, which is that this is why I love so many basketball players that I love, football players that I love. But to me, the biggest part of the game is mental. It sounds so cliche, but when players show up for big games, bro, that means so much more to me than how fast you can run. When the pressure's on and you have to deliver and that person's delivering every time, to me, I don't need much else outside of that. Like that clutch gene, it's just a lot of players that are good athletes. They're great. Me and the buddies got to arguing about this the other day. They're good athletes. They're great, but they don't know how to win. And they don't know how to step up to the plate. So I love seeing that in him and Roger. He played through a lot. Like he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not the fastest guy in the world. Let me look here. He ran a 4.5 flat, which is pretty solid. He'll be able to cover, but I've never seen him get burned by anybody.
That's the thing, bro. Like a lot of football players, they play faster than their 40 time.
A lot. And some play slower than their 40 time. But you've seen Rodgers' tape. You've seen him play in live games in the SEC. He's never gotten burned. I honestly don't. He's never got killed by a receiver, and especially in this last year. But if a receiver catches it on him, they deserve it. They just did a really good job, or he was in zone or something like that. But a guy like that, I could see him on an offense. Let me slow down. I could see him on like a defense that runs man primarily, kind of like a Marcus Peters type guy, where he could just stick. He's not the fastest, but he could just stick people, man. Yep. So that's going to be my number 2.
And now it's time for my number 2. I had Mccreary, Petry. So my number 2 is Kyle Hamilton.
I like it. Okay.
Literally, I can literally just not say anything because you pretty much said it all. But yeah, 6'4", 220, playing safety. He's not the fastest in the world, but with that frame, if you're in coverage, right, and say the separation that you give up because of your speed, you make up for in your frame. Right. So balls that would be over a 5'11" corner's head or a safety's head, he can still get to because he's just super long. And he tackles, he covers. He's just a football player, bro. But you basically hit on everything when you talked about him earlier. So, yeah.
And he has a 38-inch vertical. That's what I was just looking up. Like 6'4", 38-inch vertical. Good luck.
Yeah, bro. What's that number 1 looking like there, bro?
We got the same number 1.
Do we?
Yes.
Who is it?
Sauce, baby.
Who?
Ahmad Gardner. Nah, Ahmad, that guy. Like, for real, what are we talking about, bro?
6'3", giving up no touchdowns his whole career?
Like, in all his years.
Come on, man.
4.41 on the 40, which I think his unofficial time was faster than that. But there's not much talking to do, and he's a quiet guy as well. But he's a silent assassin, bro. He's got the length. He's got the frame.
To be perfectly honest, I didn't watch his tape because I watched it before, and like in my head, I'm like, oh, he's my number one. But then when I was watching tape for this, I just didn't watch his tape. So making my top 5, I forgot about him.
Wow.
So because he was going to be our number one regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But what's his name? I just watched Clemson Booth.
Oh
Andrew Booth.
yeah.
That was my number one until I remembered. Oh wait, Sauce was my number one.
Yeah. But the guy, I mean, Booth
Andrew Booth also has game.
Yeah, facts.
Clemson sucks ass. I'm not sure why they sucked ass this year, but they did. They were bad. And I hope they're bad. I hope they're bad again.
I hope so too. Name me in the last 5 years. I may be just not getting it. Where did Isaiah Simmons come from? Was he from Clemson? Okay, I was about to say, name me a DB in the last 5 years that has done well from Clemson. Because a lot of guys fell off the map.
Mackenzie Alexander was like really a highly talented coming out of Clemson, and he did nothing.
He was a bust. Then there was a McMullen guy, right?
Treylon Mullen?
Bust. And when Trey was there was one more on the other side of him.
AJ Terrell.
Where are they now?
Terrell is at the Falcons, and I don't know if he's been good or not because it's the Falcons.
That's what I have to say. Let me tell you, man. Andrew can play, but ACC has been awful for a while now. So it's hard to gauge that. I trust the Washington system and the fact that Kyler Gordon and McDuffie, like these guys are standing out like the last couple of classes have. I trust them over Andrew. Again, no offense against the young man. He'll probably get picked before my first, my fifth and fourth guys. But again, when we do this show, it's not about popular. It's about the film you watch. That's why he was high on your list. But it's about who I think is going to do well in the NFL. There's a difference in, okay, this is the best player in college. No, is it going to translate to the NFL? Are they going to be an impact to whatever team they go to? Because playing the game the way they do in college may mean nothing in the NFL. Ergo, Johnny Manziel, right? What's his name? Baker Mayfield. Like, we see a lot of guys who are superstars in college, and they are average at best in the NFL. Kyler Murray is on that path, so be careful. But anyway, with that said, Ahmad Gardner, he runs like a freaking deer. In my opinion, and what's crazy is how well he tackles for how skinny he is. But how skinny he is, he has a very wide frame, so he can put on muscle whenever he really wants. If an NFL team wants to do that, he's got enough speed to sacrifice a little bit of weight. But he has no weaknesses in zone or man. He knows how to use his eyes. I mean, I just love, John, when a DB looks up for the ball. That makes my day. Because there's so many DBs that make a killing off of just guessing or watching the receiver's eyes. No, look up. Look back and make a play, bro. Not only Jalen Ramsey, like he's not going to be obsessed with making a big play like Jalen Ramsey, but I've seen him knock down so many, ball. He's not going to always go for the pick. He only had 3 last year, but just the fact that he's willing to just disrupt the play, man, he is just ready and primed to be an all-star superstar in the NFL. And as soon as he gets that confidence under him, he'll be in the top 5 DBs, period, within 2-3 years. I guarantee you.
It's 6'3", yeah, I can see it. But yeah, bro, he's also my number one. He's so far ahead of my number one, I forgot that I even. He's definitely number one. Let me watch film on other guys to see who's getting the rest of these spots. But yeah, he's also my number one for the reasons you said.
So with Booth being high, would you push out Derek Stingley?
Probably so. Yeah.
Okay. So you would have Roger.
It would be Roger, Petry,
Kyle, Booth, and Gardner.
Gardner. Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna keep Derek in mind because if he has been working as hard, like I said, I'm with you. I'm signing with you on that. But if he has had the same camp and people around him as Jamar Chase did, then he's gonna do awesome because that speed is, 4.29, bro. That's rough. Hopefully, he just never sees Devonta Smith again.
I think Devonta Smith hung 200 on him each of the times they played.
Easily. Yeah, honestly, bro, and I think that was on 6 catches. Like, honestly, it was just sad to watch. Sad. But anyway, with that said, man, that's all I've got for the DBs. So to move on to the receivers, which I'm very excited for, because this is not going to be the same for me and you, bud. And what you guys need to know at Tricksters Podcast is that me and John look at football differently. That's why we are doing this. Why would we give you guys the same exact opinion? John favors certain things when it comes to receivers, and I favor others. But I think we have the same. I think we have 3 of the same top 5. I'd be surprised if we don't, but I'm sure I know who your number 1 is. We'll get to that. And I'm not mad at you. This was difficult, bro. This was very difficult.
It wasn't difficult getting a top 5, but it was difficult putting them in order.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I watched a lot of guys, almost too much, but just film. And certain players, honorable mention, that's not going to make I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. Garrett Wilson's not going to make my top 5 out of Ohio State. And I watched this. Right. I watched this. Yes, sir. I watched this film 3 times. I'm going to go ahead and go into it because he is an honorable mention. Garrett Wilson reminds me, because it was him and Chris Olave, right? He reminds me of when Terry McLaurin and Paris Campbell were there, where Garrett's tape and the way he plays football looks exactly like how Paris Campbell looked. Now, is Paris Campbell a bust? Absolutely. Is it because he's injury prone? Most likely, but even when he was on the field, he didn't look that great, okay? He's a straight line speed guy. Garrett has a little bit more vision. But outside of his speed, I didn't see anything crazy on film. I mean, I wasn't impressed with route running. I wasn't really impressed with, he's a smaller guy. 6 foot, 188 ain't bad. I didn't see any blocking skill. I just didn't see anything that made me think that he's going to be great in the NFL. Now, he ran a 4.38. Cool. Great. That's awesome. But I don't know. I just get the feeling that he benefited off of Ryan Day's offense. And if you watch this film, which I told you I watched it 3 times to make sure I wasn't tripping, his highlights just kind of naturally came. And Olave was the better receiver.
Yeah.
That's my analysis.
When you have a game-breaking receiver on your team, naturally the other receiver is also going to get some shine because the defense is focused on the other guy.
John Mechie
ain't in my top 5. He is not.
Thank you. I've said it for years. He has benefited off of everybody else. He is not that good.
Nope.
Reminds me of what's the guy from Ole Miss? Treadwell? Laquan Treadwell. You remember him?
Uh-huh.
Pretty solid in college, but nothing sexy. Just is what it is. Mechie made some good plays, but I think he just benefited off of Bama's system. But speaking of SEC receivers that are not going to make my top 5, obviously Mechie's one of them. Treylon Burks, Arkansas. Yeah, bro. Hey, we're going to have a different top 5. And it is fine. When I watched this tape, I went and watched more tape. And I was just like, ugh. I think that he was just – A&M does this too every now and then, where they just have one really good receiver and they just force feed. Right? That was Treylon Burks. I didn't see I don't know, man. I didn't see anything on film to me. I want you to, I mean, if he's in your top 5, please explain to me why when we get to that point. But with Treylon Burks, bro, I didn't see anything that stuck out. He looked like an average NFL receiver to me.
If he's not in your top 5, I'm excited to see who is.
It's going to be sexy, man. You're going to be excited. Another SEC player who's not going to make my top 5. Plays for Georgia. George Pickens. Guy's good, but he's also injury prone. He plays very aggressive. He's very physical. He plays his size, which I like. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. He can block his tail off. Sneaky good route running skill set. I like that. He's got really, honestly, I was very impressed with his catch radius. You know, when you talk about Drake London and some of these other guys, what's my other guy? Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. They're taller than George Pickens, but George, his catch radius was awesome. Now, I think if he stays healthy, he can be somebody in the NFL. I think he's not as good as Calvin Ridley or something like that, but I think he can play that type of role. I think he's really good. Okay. Not the fastest in the world, 4.47, but I mean, on film, he just looks a little bit faster than that. So anyway, that's going to be the honorable mentions for me. I think I have one more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, last honorable mention, which everybody's going to be mad at me about because some people have him as the best receiver. Drake London is not in my top 5 out of USC. He's 6'5", 210. Great. Runs a 4.58. Cool. And all of his tape, literally all of it, was jump balls. like, if you're going to make a living off of jump balls in the NFL, good luck. Because not even Mike Evans can do that. Mike Evans is amazing. He's a 50-50 guy. But a lot of his highlights have nothing to do with just throwing the ball up in the air and going and getting it. To actually learn the receiver position and run the routes the way he should, I just don't think Drake London is there. And he just looks awkward, man. He doesn't look athletic to me. Maybe it's because he's 6'5", but there are other guys his height that look better to me. So that's my last honorable mention, man. If you have any honorable mentions you want to go before, and I want you to go your first, not your first 5, but your 5th, I want you to go first.
Yeah, bro. Drake London is not in my top 5 either, strictly because he plays at USC, and USC has not put a worthwhile receiver in the league in a very long time.
Yeah,
I think Marquise Lee was their last big name.
Wow.
Exactly. Who? Yeah, Marquise Lee.
Wow.
But yeah, bro, my number 5 is gonna be very out of the norm for me. My number 5 is gonna be Alec Pierce from Cincinnati.
Oh, I like it. He showed out at the combine.
He showed out at the combine. Desmond Ridder, his quarterback, is no good. He could have been more than what he was at Cincinnati because he's 6'3", runs like a 4.31, some shit like that, and he's just, if he goes to the right system, he can put some numbers up.
I agree.
But
who would you compare him to?
Who would I compare him to?
In the NFL now.
That's a good question. I didn't really think about it.
I was trying to do that while watching his tape, but I was like, you know what? I like this guy. But again, this is a very deep wide receiver class. Drake London didn't make my top 5. So
yeah,
that lets you know how deep it is. But I do like Pierce. And again, his combine was more impressive than his actual film. But it lets you know you can work with something.
His actual film, you can only do so much if the quarterback's just not throwing you the ball.
Facts. And it's sad that Desmond Ridder's in a lot of top 5 for mocks.
Yeah,
not top 5, but top 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah. And also they were a predominantly run first offense because Jerome Ford was having such a good year. I mean, we can't knock them. The team had a great year, but Desmond Ridder was not exactly like the catalyst for their great year. But yeah, bro, that's my number 5 is Alec Pierce.
I like it. So, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
My number 5, out of your favorite college, North Dakota State, I got Christian Watson. Listen, Christian Watson. This is Eugene Johnson reporting to you live on Tricksters podcast. May very well be the next Calvin Johnson. Listen to me. 4.36 40, 6'5", 211. Yeah, he only had 43 receptions, but my brother, that's 800 yards, 6 touchdowns, 18.6 yards per catch. Big time guy, catching the ball down the field, burning a lot of DBs. Terrible division, I get it. But 6'5", running a 4.36, my boy. Hey, this guy, go look at his film. He looks like a freak, like a physical specimen. I think he can run routes. I'm contradicting myself when I talk about all these other guys, but the guys that I criticize on route running.
I got to let the dog in real fast. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Why is my phone say it's got 20% battery left? That's what highlights it now.
It's us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro, proceed.
Hold on. Yeah, so like I was saying, Christian Watson could very much be the next Calvin Johnson. I'm contradicting myself, but I didn't see much route running. I think that he can because he's just such an athletic freak. But Calvin Johnson became a Hall of Famer off of doing 2 things: slants and go routes. So, I mean, he didn't have to do much. I mean, he ran some posts and stuff. I'm not going to do him like that, out routes here and there. But Calvin Johnson was just Calvin Johnson, a physical specimen that just knew how to play the game well. And I think Christian Watson is primed to be that. Again, 6'5" running a 4.36 is a lot more different than a 5'10" guy running a 4.36. It's a lot different. There's a lot you can do at that size with that speed. And he looked really good on film in a terrible offense, and nobody knew the quarterback. But to get 43 receptions out of it and 800 yards off of that, I mean, a lot of these guys had like 92 receptions for like 1,200 yards. The fact that he did less than half the receptions and almost got 3/4 of what they put up in yards that's pretty awesome. So you're not impressed. I know you hate North Dakota State, but remember the name Christian Watson, bro. I think an NFL team is going to get him on discount, and he is going to show up. Believe that. I do this every year, but go ahead. All right.
Anybody that plays at North Dakota State, I don't respect. Case in point, Carson Wentz.
Trey Lance.
You're not playing elite level competition. And the
Well,
jump from – because North Dakota State is by far – they're the Alabama of their division.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing just lesser opponents than them every week.
That's right.
They're the cream of the crop, and they just play low-level competition and just beat the fuck out of them every week. And it's not impressive. It's like taking candy from a baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it doesn't impress me. Nobody from there going to the league has ever struck fear in my heart.
Okay.
But that being said, my number 4 receiver is Treylon Burks. Because he, being 2 inches shorter, is more of a physical specimen. Okay. And he did it in the SEC, which garners my respect.
What did he run in the 40? Let me go. Let me try to.
He's not the fastest, bro. Yeah.
No, he's not. I think he ran like a 4.6, but let me go find out.
He's not the fastest. However, he's big.
Where at?
His stature. He's 6'3", like 220. He reminds me a lot of T. He reminds me a lot of T. Higgins.
I feel like he's a donut away from Eddie Lacy.
That's good though, because he can still catch the ball, and these corners, 5'11", 180, 6'3", 220. Like, bring your friends because you're going to need help getting me down.
That's true.
And he did it at Arkansas. He tore up Alabama this year. Alabama's corners sucked, but
I was about to say, I knew you would say that when I first brought him up as an honorable mention. Because of what he did to Bama, I think that influenced your interpretation or influenced your opinion of him. But continue, man.
No, that's really all I had to say. What he did at Alabama didn't really factor into my decision because he had one big catch where Josh Jobe just went to press him and just missed and got blown by. So it's really nothing he did. It was just Alabama's DBs being shitty. Yeah, bro. Treylon Burks is my number 4 just because of how physical he is and what he can do after the catch. Because he has some wiggle to him, being that big. He's not going to blow by you, but he is a big target. He can get you those tough contested catches, and he has a little bit of wiggle to him. So once he gets the catch and that first guy falls off of him, he can make something happen with a ball in his hand. He's not going to take it 80 yards down the sideline, but he can get you extra yards after the catch.
Yeah, okay. I'll take it. I'm not mad at it. Again, this is an extremely deep receiver class. It's a very good offensive lineman class, very, very good linebacker class. And defensive ends are solid, but receivers for sure are the deepest this year that I've seen in a very long time. So coming in at my number 4, you probably don't even know them because you don't ever watch their team in life. But out of the University of Memphis, Calvin Austin III, 5'9", 173 pounds. I'm doing this. I already said Calvin Johnson. I'm going to say Tariq Hill 2.0. Ran a 4.32 on the 40. I think he's faster than that, by the way. But ran a 4.32, 74 receptions, 1,149 yards, 15.5 yards per catch, and 8 total touchdowns. And a team that really doesn't get recognized for much. They had a quarterback a while back who turned out to be nothing. Paxton Lynch turned out to be terrible.
Boy's in the USFL, I think.
Say it again. He's still there?
No, I think he's in the USFL.
Oh, USFL. Probably. But this guy's got some Jalen Waddle. He's got some Tariq Hill in him where he's returning punts. He's everywhere, bro. He's returning punts. He's at running back. He's taking jet sweeps. Watch his tape, man. I knew you wouldn't know who he was because you don't watch Memphis at all. I don't even know who their conference is. I'm not even going to lie. But the guy plays like Steve Smith with his attitude and rough and rugged. His tape is crazy. It's electrifying. It's a fun time, man. I know he's 5'9", but we've seen these guys in the NFL do it at a high level at that height. Calvin Austin, plug him into a good system with a big arm quarterback. It's a go. That's my number 4. I'm sticking to it.
That was number 4?
That was my number 4.
I just didn't. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I thought you should have been at number 3. Yeah, that's
I can go
cool.
number 3. I can go first on 3.
Go first on 3, bro.
So far, I've got Christian Watson and Calvin Austin in 3rd. You've got who at 5?
Alec Pierce and Treylon Burks.
Treylon Burks. So we may not even get 3 together because now we're turning on the heat. This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough, man. I dare not put a Penn State man in front of Jameson Williams. So I'm going to go ahead and put Jahan Dotson at number 3. Out of respect for you and out of respect for myself, because we both know a healthy Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is much better than Jahan Dotson, but Jahan can play he can play football, bro. Jahan can play some ball. Understand that. He looked good, but just a few highlights. Ran a 4.43 on the 40, but to me, his game speed is he's probably running like a 4.29. Okay. Here's some yours. But yeah, his game speed is more like a 4.29. He ran a 4.43 on the 40. 91 receptions, 1,182 yards, 13 yards per catch, 12 touchdowns. But in my opinion, he probably had the best film. Honestly, out of any receiver I saw, overall, he had no weaknesses. He can do everything. He's a great route runner, amazing after the catch. He can just return punts. I like him the most out of all the top 5 I have. I personally just like him. I'm not saying he's the better or else he'd be number 1. I'm not saying he's the best in there, but I personally just like his game more than I do anybody else's because he's my type of guy. But he can go up and get a jump ball, even though he's 5'11". Guy's got some hops, man. Actually, while you go with your number 3, I can look up his vertical.
Well, it's funny you say that because he's also my number 3.
Well, bud, that is good. So we got 1 together so far.
Yeah. But yeah,
36-inch vertical. Guy can jump.
36-inch?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He played at Penn State. Penn State is no good. I'll never respect them. But I will admit when they have good players, he is one of the few that they've had recently. Their quarterback, Clifford, no good, god awful.
Yep.
Didn't Auburn lose to them this year?
Yeah, and it should not have been a loss. It was the opening game. You can think, what's his name for that? What was the quarterback's name again? Oh yeah, Bo Nix, aka Bo Dix, because that's what he sucked. I'm cutting that out. But
bro, I hate Bo Nix so much.
He is such a bad football player, and Oregon really they want that.
Apparently, he had 3 touchdowns in the spring game.
Who cares? Bro, I don't know what anybody sees if Daddy's just really pulling some strings.
Bro, he had a bad game.
Worst football players I've ever seen.
Bro, he had a bad game, and he said, well, regardless, I'll be at church in the morning worshiping my Lord. And so, man, nobody cares about that. That's not giving fans not giving any relief from the shit you just took on the field. Well, he might suck dick at football, but at least he's a Christian. Bro, I don't care if you summon Satan at the 50-yard line.
It worked for
I don't care if you summon Satan on the 50-yard line. You better bring this fucking dub. Like, fucking Bryce Young could literally paint a damn pentagram in midfield of Bryant-Denny Stadium, and I would not give a fuck because he brings home the bacon.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that, but what I do know is that I don't care about what Bo Nix has going on ever in life. He will not make it in the NFL. He's not even as good as what was his name? The old Auburn quarterback. It came from Baylor.
Jarrett Stidham.
He's not even as good as Stidham. Honestly, we took Stidham. I hated Stidham, but he was way better than this guy.
Bro.
Don't tell me his phone died.
Why is my damn phone dying? I'm plugged up, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. My phone, it's been steadily dying, even though it's plugged up. But I realized that the the cord wasn't plugged into the box all the way.
Okay.
But
turn it a little. There you go. Perfect. All right.
But yeah, bro. Bo Nix, he'll be selling insurance, real estate. pretty soon.
I don't get it. Honestly, had Auburn had Stidham this past year, they would have done better. Probably would have beat Penn State. Like, although the game what sucks about what Auburn just did this year is a lot of those games they had won. It's not like they had to climb back. They played really well, were always in the game, and then just crap. So anyway, not going to waste too much time on Bo Nix, but the reason that I like Jahan Dotson is because when he, like Pierce with Desmond Ridder, if you don't have a good quarterback and you still put up good numbers, chances are you are who we think you are. Like, you're that guy. So that's why I like Jahan so much. I don't care about the quarterback situation. If his quarterback's mediocre or bad, you can still put up 1,182 yards. You can play some football. So that is an awesome number 3. I'm glad we can agree on that. So that means we probably have the same top 2, bro.
But what order?
The difference is
what order are they in?
Boom. So I'm gonna put it this way. The reason that my guy that I have is at number 1. It's simply because, although not as physically gifted, he is physically gifted. Although not as physically gifted, I would take an explosive possession receiver over a game-breaking receiver every day of the week. There are GMs and NFL owners that would take Tyreek Hill before Mike Evans. They would take you froze. Coming back, you back? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so the NFL GMs, owners would take Tyreek Hill over Mike Evans, or they might take, who's another explosive guy? Like Jaylen Waddle. They might take him over, A.J. Brown or something like that. But to me, when you look at guys like Justin Jefferson, you look at guys like Jamar Chase, I think Chris Olave is that guy where he can be a possession receiver, but he can also.
Bro, I'm about to lose it. My phone is plugged up. Stop doing this.
Mm-hmm.
This charger ain't nothing.
Yeah, you should get a new one. But now let's speed.
I just bought this from the store Saturday.
Sorry, man. Is it like the real one or is it like one of those cheap ones?
It's like one of those 10-foot ones from Walgreens. It's like $25.
Oh my God. You paid that much for that?
Yep.
Jeez, what does your block look like? Is it the normal block? Like the You probably need more watch coming out, man. But anyway, yeah, when I think of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Chris Olave has the same style play where he can be a possession receiver, but he can also take the top off at any given time. He's just got that balance, man, where I trust him in every situation. Jameson Williams is going to be my number 2. For every reason you think he should be number 1, it's just that Olave, to me, is just a better overall receiver. Slightly better on the route running, slightly better on the possession catches. Jameson can hurt you. He can end the game. He's a big play type guy, and I love him. I promise you, they're really 1A and 1B in my opinion. But if I had to draft one and I needed a receiver, I'm drafting Olave. That's where I'm going with it. Olave, unofficially, he ran like a 4.2 freaking 6. I don't even know how he did it. In the official time he ran, I don't know if he stumbled or started weird, but he ran a 4.39, which is still pretty fast. But, with Garrett Wilson being a lot of people's number 1 or 2 on the other side, Olave the year before that and this year did so well with his last year being 65 receptions, 936 yards, 13 touchdowns. So high touchdowns, love it. That's what possession receivers do. They're your third down guys. They're your goal line guys. 14.4 yards per catch. And just, like I said, really balanced. Great jumping ability, great hands. His awareness levels are up. He's got great vision. Jameson Williams, in my opinion, is just the most dynamic receiver in the draft. Whether you got him on a jet sweep, you put him at running back, on a screen, he is just electric. And I don't want to take that away from him, even with the injury late in the national championship. I think if he stays, maybe we're looking at a different game. But officially running a 4.25 40, putting up 79 receptions and 1,572 yards, 15 touchdowns, 19.9 yards per catch, which led, I think, every receiver in the FBS. It's 1A, 1B, bro. It's 1A, 1B. But would you agree with the top 2 being the top 2?
I agree with the top 2 being the top 2, but just my bias alone and hatred for Ohio State will not let me put Olave number 1. He's good. He's fine.
He's great.
Jameson Williams actually transferred from Ohio State because he wasn't getting no shine.
Which tells you how good Olave is. I mean, I'm not saying Jameson ran specifically from Olave, but when you look at Chris Olave's game, bro, he is a really, really good receiver. I know you hate Ohio State, but he going to be something serious in the NFL. And I can't wait to see all these guys. I think every guy in my top 5 for the receivers is going to be a superstar. Every single one of them.
But see, you're doing it versus the Big Ten. Jameson Williams came and did it versus the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
With, I will say, not a greatest supporting cast as Alabama's had in the past. Mechie ain't like that.
He's not. And Brian Robinson didn't have a great year until later.
B-Rob, he had a good year, but he had Najee last year before that. Like, the supporting cast around Jameson Williams wasn't as strong as it has been in recent years.
Yeah, he didn't have a good supporting cast. It's just his quarterback won the. So, I mean, you can look at other receivers and running backs, but he had the best college football quarterback and probably the best quarterback we're going to see come out of the draft in the last 5 years.
Imagine if the offensive line was worth a damn.
Mm-hmm. And losing Evan Neal, We'll see how they do next year, man. But that is the top 5. Longer episode than I wanted it to be, but we had to cover a lot. There's a lot of skill in this season. DBs, don't look up. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tricksters Podcast. We really appreciate the support and growing the community. You can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Spreaker. You can find us on Apple iTunes Podcast. You can find us pretty much anywhere a podcast can exist. Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere. You know, if you have any comments, if you want to join the community, you can find us on Facebook as well. Yes, we are a little bit older. Old people do things on Facebook. That's okay. It's okay. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a page there for questions, involvement, anything there. Again, Instagram as well. I'm always posting to our story, posting reels before and after episodes to clip out good parts of what we do here at Tricksters Podcast. So, again, appreciate your support for watching. Catch you guys soon.